softball. Mud grips, white tip, cigar.
Good.
It looks like I've been too good for too
Yeah.
long.
Whether you're at the local tractor pull, a Mensa meeting, or the yacht club where socialites pretend to love the taste of caviar, big jacked forearms demand respect. Well-developed forearms are the centerpiece to a no-nonsense physique. Now look, I'm not claiming you will get more right swipes on Tinder because of the size of your forearms, but people will get right out of your way when you walk down the road, okay? So grip strength training is crucial to any situation you encounter, whether it's you're playing defensive end, inside linebacker, it's a now illegal horse collar tackle, or even an aging Mrs. Jones carrying groceries in. Grip strength is crucial for success. So back when Fred Hatfield and I were doing seminars together all the time, rest in peace, Doc, one of my best friends, mentor, learned so much from him. He brought in this gentleman that he said he was a Buddhist monk. He wore a cowboy hat, dressed, I looked like a normal Texan to me, but I thought they wore robes, but apparently they don't always. Anyways, this guy went through some crazy mental techniques, really good stuff. Kind of scared a lot of the guests of the seminar, got a little out there. I enjoyed the hell out of it, totally classic, learned a lot. But anyways, after we got to talking about grip strength, and he was talking about there were some ranchers, they researched these ranchers in their 80s, no direct periodized grip training. However, they never stopped doing chores on the ranch. They're always picking things up, gripping it. These guys had a higher amount of grip strength in their 80s than sedentary folks did in their 20s, which I thought was amazing. So increased grip strength, there's tons of, associated with all the kind of mental benefits and all that kind of stuff, but it's also associated with a longer lifespan, okay? So you talk about the bus test, whether you're going, you're in your rival game at Penn State or you're getting off the bus to do a stint in the state pen, big jacked forearms. The bus test is what people see when they think you get off that bus. They think you're gonna, pull out their pancreas through your nose. It's an advantageous advantage going in. You got one up right out the gate. So that's something to think about. So what are all the things grip strength can benefit? Think about it. Anything with picking things up. Okay. We work a lot with tactical athletes. So like we talk a lot about grip strength training too, but think about pull-ups. Any of your traditional reps, even bench press when you grip the bar, let alone holding onto a deadlift or things like that, okay? Marksmanship, when you're handling weapons, shooting, especially a lot of rounds, all day long training, or whatever else you're getting into, that, there's a benefit to grip training there too. Rappelling and fast roping are benefited from grip training. Grip endurance, obviously. Just in general, reducing your risk of injury. Hand-to-hand combat. Besides actual hand-to-hand combat, just if you're doing, some of the grappling sports for sport, not even, in a self-defense situation, having a stronger grip is very advantageous and you're going to have one up on your opponent, okay? Medical emergency. Think if you're a tactical athlete in the field, you have to carry a stretcher. Any type of carrying, okay? Climbing over any sort of obstruction has a huge benefit from grip training. Then, massive, more jacked forearms from grip training. So how do we build grip? Okay. So you got to think about Charlie Francis's cup of tea analogy. So basically, proper periodized training without overdoing it, you're pouring tea into a cup. If that cup doesn't overflow and you recover from it, you supercompensate, you come back stronger. That's a good thing. If you start to overflow, that's when you can start to overreach, and you can only do so much. You can't keep, there's so many good different training modalities and things to attack out there. You can't do everything all the time at once, or you'd be, even if you do multiple sessions a day, eventually there'll be some stuff you have to take out. So keep that in mind. So what we're going to focus on here is how to build your grip without adding a bunch of time onto your training sessions. Then we can go in later to a more specialized kind of grip training. So number one, we'll get into this right now, is change your traditional lifts. So what do I mean by that? Think, for example, if you do a dumbbell, You do a dumbbell curl on the way up, reverse it on the way down. You do a Zotman curl. So on the eccentric overload down there, because you're going heavier on the way up, you can handle more eccentrically already. You're having to grip that weight on the way down. It's going to build your forearms. It's going to build some grip strength. No extra time, added on to the training session. Okay. So train heavy. You train heavy compound movements, strongman movements. That is going to build your strength. Okay. Ditch the straps. Okay. So you got to think right here. Intentionality and what is the purpose of the movement. If you're doing heavy shrugs to build your traps, you want to throw the strap on. Okay, that doesn't sound right. Okay, put on straps when you're doing heavy shrugs. That would be a good idea. The whole point is to target your traps. So if you're limited by your grip, you're not maximizing that benefit. However, when you do like a couple feeler sets to warm up, go without straps. Don't strap up on lifts like pull-ups and stuff. You see some bodybuilders that are wearing straps doing bodyweight pull-ups. Unless that's now okay, they need to work the grip separately if that's really the limiting factor of those pull-ups. But odds are it's not. So like they can do some submaximal work just doing bodyweight pull-ups. Okay, so do your heavy barbell lifts. Ditch the straps when needed. So if you were doing straps just to build, your grip right there. You're doing like shrugs just for the point. Hey, I'm going to build my grip, doing shrugs and maybe get a little icing on the cake for traps. Fine, but to think you're maximally attacking your traps that way, that would be false. Okay, so ditch the straps when not needed for the intended purpose of the lift would be a better way to put it. Towel training, gi training. Okay, so what do you do? Like towel pull-ups. So this would be pull-ups where the main focus is grip. Okay, you get really good at these. You can really overload them about to what you could do on a traditional pull-up. Will take some work. For most people, body weight's gonna be a hell of a struggle at first. If you're able to do your body weight on, you're ahead of most people right out of the gate. So you can do get a towel, put it through a kettlebell. You can do curls that way. So any kind of movement where you use the towel as a grip is a great way to build grip strength, overload your forms. And you can do the same thing like for jiu-jitsu guys, gi pull-ups, things like that. Okay. Obviously strongman training, just doing deadlift overhand holds, at the end of your deadlift, last one, hold it overhand without a hook grip and just hold it for, a couple sets of 15 seconds, even one set of 15 seconds. You do that every week, progressively overload it. Say you're doing 300 pounds right now, you do it every week this year, add 5 pounds, do the math right there. So, you'd be adding 200, there'd be a lot to add, but 260 pounds a year. But if you did 5 pounds a month that way, you'd be 60 pounds up right there, a lot stronger grip with really minimal time invested. So a lot of this, if your whole goal is not to compete in a grip strength contest or anything like that, a minimal time investment can really maximize results. A lot of times I'll put when I program for people, what I will do, for my clients is not even like add not even say, hey, this, just gonna put this in there, kind of sneak it in, and it really makes no difference in the amount of the time. Get the work in. It doesn't even seem like any sort of added stressor that way. Plate curls, grab the plates with a smooth part, hold them together. You do your curls that way. Okay. Any kind of rope training, think about, back in the day, if, before everything got so much, safe space and everywhere, people were, in PE class, do a rope climb to the top of the gym, build your, the top of the gym, build your grip that way. Okay. Fat bar training. If you don't have a fat bar, invest in some fat grips. If you don't have you can't get those, get something around the bar, that's going to make it more, a fatter grip, make it more difficult, overload it that way. Okay. So what else can you do in your training sessions to help your grip? At the end of, this is one I got from Joe Musselwhite. Okay. So squeeze the bar at the end of, you do like say any kind of movement there. The last rep, squeeze the bar as hard as you can for 6 to 8 seconds. Okay. Not a lot of time invested right there either. Get some, he also said, when you like bringing back a pair of 10-pound plates or anything, start off there, grip them like this, walk them back to the plate rack, and farmers walk them back, get a little work, no time added on right there. Okay. Dead hang pull-ups. Okay. Last rep of pull-ups, dead hang. I wouldn't, you don't have to go to failure, go to like, 15 seconds, 10 seconds to start, slowly add time on that. If you just add a couple seconds each time, before you know it, you got a vice grip right there. Okay. So specialized grip training is definitely an effective way if you really want to go next level, world-class grip, kind of grip training, sort of like, for an athlete wants to add muscle hypertrophy, pass the bust test, less likely to get injured, build a bigger engine, all that sort of thing, but they're not looking to necessarily maximize like a bodybuilder. They want to get some of the bodybuilding principles, for the desired training effect, but not go all in on bodybuilding type of things. So that's what like real specialized grip training sessions, like if people compete, that's a great thing too, but that will add time onto the training sessions, add additional training sessions, add additional stressors. So that's, if that's your goal, go for it. But these are some easy ways to build your grip, and why having a strong grip is important, and how having jacked forearms will aid you in everyday life.